we want to go over the recap?
We do. What new information did we acquire from talking to the priestess, as well as anything that we think that Hedges Noon might benefit from knowing?
We
also met somebody new. We met a very interesting character that I think Brian would be interested in knowing who we met.
I can't really remember. Unfortunately.
It's okay. So
don't fuck with the Gundam Knights.
Right.
I tried to steal their sword. I remember that.
Yeah, so in chronological order, as much as you can remember, I'll fill in the blanks. But yeah.
Where did we start? I don't remember where we started.
We started last session right before we met Emma.
Okay, so yeah, it was right after fighting the Wing Knight, which Dakota wasn't there for. But so we start in that square with the fountain in the center of it, and sort of the grassy garden around it.
And 2 doors. One was froze.
Yep.
And then we went and talked to Emma. I don't remember much about what was said because I was paying Yumi to try to steal one of the knight's swords. Did not work.
Yeah, and these were different kinds of Lothric knights. There were, I think, how many of them were there? Were there just 2, or were there like 6 of them? Okay, there's 2 of them. Okay, so these were Lothric knights in blue garments and capes rather than red, and they also had an abyssal black smog beneath their helms with glowing red eyes, as well as long silver glowing great swords, shining bright white light, and they were not hostile initially. They were just sort of keeping guard over this church tower that Priestess Emma was rocking in her little rocking chair at the top of, until, of course, someone attempted to steal the 25-pound greatsword out of one of their hands.
Not me.
We almost made it. We almost did it, too.
Yeah. And thankfully, due to, kind, forgiving DM intervention, the priestess was able to rein in her knights before they obliterated, everyone. So does Sayerbold remember any of the information that he was given from Priestess Emma during the conversation that you two had? It's cool if not. No.
I think, if I remember correct, I'll be honest, I was really distracted when that happened, because it was like we were halfway between being a gigantic meme and actually RPing.
Yeah.
If I remember correct, which is okay, by the way, I'm not like being a shithead about it. I remember her saying, one, that she was a priestess, and that, what was it? For one of the Lords of Cinder, if I remember correctly. What did she I don't remember.
You're getting there. She was sort of a guardian of the higher levels of Lothar Castle. We had been exploring the, poorer districts, and we were able to defeat one of, actually, the last Wing Knight that was alive and patrolling these smaller districts populated by wandering, peasant-like commoner hollows. And she was guarding a huge, heavy steel double door behind her that depicted... Does anyone remember the imagery that was depicted on these steel double doors?
No.
Okay. So it depicted a crawling, wispy-haired, crowned humanoid figure who seemed to, he had legs, but it by the way that he was etched into the steel, it looked like he was just using his hands to crawl. And he had a robed, shriveled, sickly-looking figure riding on his back. with thin arms outstretched, and this was etched onto at the center of these double doors behind her. Priestess Emma said that she was a priestess of royalty, there to guard the palace of the last remaining Lord of Cinder that sat in his throne awaiting the end of the world. And that this portion of the castle was more of a wealthy district that was off limits to you guys, it seemed. And then, so Priestess Emma, she gave us a banner that she said would allow us to travel down to the bottom of the broken bridge, where we could, explore the Undead Settlement and uncover what's left of there, as well as what lies beyond it. And then you guys said goodbye, and you met a strange figure outside who was wearing strangely modern clothes for the era, almost Renaissance. He was wearing clothes that was very fashionable, very consciously put together, very expensive clothing, long gray trench coat with a masterfully woven dark black scarf around his neck, and a silver gleaming mask without any expression on it, as well as what looks to be sort of a I'm not sure what kind of hat they call it, but a colonial.
Tricorn.
Yeah, right. And he was sitting there, and what was he playing with in his hand that was sort of floating in midair?
A red eye orb.
Yeah, I remember Sayerbald in particular was freaked out by it.
This was I'm sorry, what was this?
Do you remember leaving the church tower and heading back to the fountain? And there is a strange individual in modern expensive clothing. Not modern.
Oh, that fucking guy. Yeah, creepy. Yeah, no, fuck
sort of
that
like
guy.
Renaissance, wealthy, expensive clothing, and he was wielding this orb that was floating in between his fingers.
Did it have an eye on it, right?
Yeah.
It did, yes.
Yeah. Okay, I know it. Yep, okay, we're good.
Do we remember at all what the information that he gave us?
I remember he had a...
We'll meet again. Other than that, the tongue collecting.
Yeah, the tongue, yeah.
So I'll go ahead and give you guys a little recap of that. He seemed to be a part of his own unique covenant, and he seemed to invite you guys to find his goddess and learn more about his covenant and see if you have what it takes to become a part of it, because him and his fellow fingers had been watching you. So let me go ahead and go to his... what exactly was that he said. So let me go ahead and just reread this dialogue here. He said, "Salutations, Ashen Undead. Fast on the trail of the Lords absconded, are we? I am Leonard the Ringfinger. My goddess has been keeping an eye on you, as have I and my brothers. Here, this is for you, a pale tongue." And that's when he gave you guys that half-living, half-dead, flickering, dismembered tongue that was pale and seemed to have been cut from somebody's mouth with surgeon-like precision. And he told you that it is an offering to his goddess, collected from the cadavers of those unfit to fashion them. If on your journey you should encounter particularly unsavory and uncivilized folk, our goddess would take kindly to such an offering. And then he parted with you guys, saying, "You may find our goddess's throne within the Cathedral of the Deep. If justice for the wretched is a path that intrigues you, find her and give her this offering, and you too may become a finger." So it seems that the whatever group, companionship of fingers he calls them, he's a part of, seems to exist for the sole purpose of taking the lives of those that he finds to be quote-unquote unsavory and uncivilized folk, whatever you guys whatever that would mean to you guys. And then it was at that point that a small bonfire appeared out of thin air with roaring flames, and he stepped into it, and the bonfire disappeared into thick smoke, and he was gone. So yeah, so that's what happened then, and then where did we go after that?
I think we fought Vort.
Yep. Okay, and then
Yeah, we fucking did fight Vort immediately after this shifty bastard is like, hey, what's up, man? Fucking gigantic turtle autism man shows up with a giant mace to fuck our ass.
You guys didn't get your ass whooped, not at all. Good thing that you went like 5 feet underground, because he was definitely rearing up to charge you over the cliff. So that would have been
Well, I thought he was gonna keep running. That was the thing, that's why I did that, is I figured he would just continue to run, but he fucking didn't. He just stopped. And then I was a useless fucking idiot 5 feet underground.
Well, the spell that you cast was so that he had to, pursue you, so you had been pursued.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So we have not yet used the white soapstone given to us by the I forgot what he called himself. Let me go ahead and check my NPC notes.
Isn't he the master?
The Eastern Swordsman, is all that we know about him. And he had given us this white soapstone just in case we needed to use his spirit in combat or whatever purpose we might have. That was a one-time use. So don't forget that you guys still have that. If you guys need some extra help in combat, his spirit is there for your assistance. So then, defeating Vort, using the banner. Who wants to give us, if anybody remembers, description of how we left and who we encountered? Because we encountered a falling apart, aging, rusted fortress guarded by what?
I don't remember that part.
Okay. Does anyone remember getting pulled off the bridge by the winged demons? And
I thought they dropped us in the village.
Not anything about a fortress.
I thought they dropped us in this village.
I thought we had just landed.
Nope. You guys had been let in through a gate by people who were guarding.
Oh yeah, I remember that. The Way of Blue, or I think it was the Way of Blue. They were on guard at the gate, and I talked us through.
Does Sarebold remember that?
I feel like I do. Yeah. Did you post a picture of what they look like?
I did not yet, but I'll go ahead and do that.
I wasn't sure if.
Yeah, so we weren't dropped into the Undead Settlement. I will go ahead and jog you guys' memory, bring us back one page. So we had encountered these, what they called themselves, where they said that they were Blue Sentinels, and that they had the purpose of watching this Undead Settlement. And it seemed that this fortress wall had fallen apart from years of battle. The large steel gates seemed to have been caved in and were heavily rusted. And who was it that talked them into was it Jarnafelt, you said?
Yeah, because I'm a Blue Sentinel.
Yeah, said you were a Blue Sentinel, and so they decided they were going to trust your party because they had been following a Blue Sentinel. So they went ahead and they pulled a large crank and lever, and we heard rusted chains screeching and pulling up this large rusted gate, where they invited you into the Undead Settlement to explore, to rest, to perhaps offer trade with some of the hollows that were wandering, and sort of that's where we are. So we encountered an interesting character. He did not say who his name was. Gave us a pale tongue. Who has the pale tongue in their pocket?
I think Yumi does.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So Yumi has his pale tongue. It is no longer spasming, so you don't have to worry about that. And then, like I said, Priestess Emma gave us some information on a Lord of Cinder that is awaiting the end of the world in a palace above Lothar Castle. We met the Blue Sentinels, and they invited us into the Undead Settlement. So let me take a swig of this Pepsi, and I'll give you guys a description. Okay. So we come into this. Well, let me go ahead and find a way to introduce Brian. introduce Hedges. Dang, I don't even know how to do that. I would say when you guys Hedges had stayed behind to explore the city some more, maybe, or do you want to just say that you were there? Wait, no. Hedges was fighting.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
went with
I
us.
was controlling him.
Yeah, and by the way, you'll get to look back and see how good of a impression of you he did. It was pretty impressive.
I love it.
Yeah. So you guys had all gotten led into this undead settlement, and this whole place is just a shanty town of randomly built, poorly built houses that are surrounded by, you can tell on either side, large, heavy cobblestone fortress walls that surround this settlement, isolating it from the expansive forest outside of its walls. And there is a large bonfire, not a like magic bonfire. In the center of the city, there are hollow peasants that are wearing rags as well as what could have been farmers' clothes, or shepherds' clothes or gardeners' clothes and stuff like that have just withered away over the years. Some of them are throwing more logs into the fire. And there is a very large, most of the trees that have died around here, they're just gray and twisted and gnarled, arms without any leaves. But this one is fully flourishing. It is, got a large, thick trunk that's winding and twisting upward with pink blossoms that are emerging out of the foliage of leaves that surround the top. And it's just a very beautiful sight that brings the settlement together. There are many hollows that are wheeling around wheelbarrows. Some of them are tending to their gardens in the backyard of their settlement. So there's a lot of activity going on around here. You can see some of these hollows have taken notice of you. Stop doing whatever work that they're working on to sort of whisper with one another and point at you. But these squares are 10 feet. So, it's a little bit of a larger map. The squares are 10 feet by 10 feet instead of 5 by 5. So, yeah, there's all these houses. One looks to be a very large sort of tavern kind of area. And I would say, would you guys have any initial sort of reactions before I go into another thing that would happen? Is there anything you'd be curious about?
Wondering about that big bonfire. Is there they cooking something, or what are they doing with the bonfire?
They just seem to be making sure that the fire stays roaring. They are just over time continuously throwing in more logs and chopping down more firewood to throw into the fire. It seems ritualistic in a way. You're not exactly sure why they're doing it. It doesn't seem to have an intended purpose from surface value.
Hedges would be looking around to see if anyone's taken particular notice of us or is watching us.
Go ahead and roll perception then. Okay. So you scan your eyes around, and your eyes are drawn to this large tavern that seems to have frequent visitors, even though it sort of has fallen apart over the years, and the wood has molded and become overgrown with vines. And you see a hunched-over old man. It's hard to decipher that he's old man since all these hollows are gray-skinned with sunken-in eyes. But you can tell that this is an older gentleman with a remainder of patchy gray beard on his neck and chin. And he has a staff in one hand that seems to be taken right off a tree. It's got some leaves growing off of it, and it's a twisting heavy tree branch. And he just sort of waves to you and quivers a shriveled smile, and he seems to be greeting you as he slowly, shakily steps forward towards you. So let me go ahead and get a token for you since he's going to sort of stand out from the crowd. But you would notice this elderly gentleman walking towards you from the tavern.
Well, Head just remembers the last time they encountered a friendly old hollow man, and he squints his eyes in suspicion.
Would you inform the rest of the party of this elderly hollow that seems to have taken view and comes to greet you?
I don't say anything, but I kind of nod my chin over towards him, and then just give him a look like, be wary of this one.
Okay. Would anyone have any reactions to that, or would they just continue and see what happens?
Jarnfelt is extremely suspicious. Shield up, sword at the ready.
Head just still has his weapon still on his back, and he just has his arms crossed. He's not being overly aggressive in any means, but nor is he giving this guy an indication that he wants to be chatty.
And then, does Saberbold have any reaction, or is he just...
So what's this guy's demeanor exactly?
He seems to be relaxed, passive, seems to be just an inquisitive elderly man who sees, young life in the town again and seems to be just drawn to it, looking to make conversation.
Well, Sayerbald is never one to shy away from a conversation, though I will draw it away from everyone else. So okay. I can tell everybody else is apprehensive. There's no reason to get what's the right word? Well, there's no reason to worry too much. Apprehension has its place for sure. So I just took it upon myself to give them an excuse to not engage, I guess.
Okay. So he definitely takes notice that you have gone out of the crowd to greet him and shifts his attention to Sayerbald. So he shakily stumbles over with his hunchback and his wooden staff that has been overgrown by leaves, and he heads towards you, gives a slight bow as his body continues to shake, and he opens his mouth, revealing his yellowed teeth, and says to you, "Welcome to our village. My name is Anselm. I am a hollow that has been living here for quite some time under the protection of the Blue Sentinels. We haven't had a visitor in decades. I'm curious as to why the very overprotective Blue Sentinels had let you into our village, and what your purpose is here."
I feel, what would I say? I feel like I keep it pretty vague. We don't really have any reason to be in this village specifically. So I would just say we're adventurers traveling through. That's honestly, I'd pretty much just say that. Say, hey, we're on our way through. Say hi, trade if anybody has it. But otherwise, up for small talk. I'm more than willing to have a conversation, but I don't think we're really here for any particular reason, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so far it was just a...
this is a destination on our way to our destination.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So he would widen his sunken-in eyes and give a low chuckle and say, adventurers, new life in this dreary and hopeless time. I see that you might have some hope for the future. Hope is not very common around these places. I would be up for some new conversation, and be willing to give you some more information as to our city, our small village, as well as those who are willing to help you trade, and are willing to give you food and lodging for the night, before whatever journey it is that you plan to go on. Please, please, follow me into the tavern. We will have a chat. And he swivels around and slowly, shakily makes his way back to the tavern, hoping you'll follow.
Hedges wants to look to Enith and see what she thinks.
I'm gonna look back at the party as well and be like...
The Hedges looks around, eyes surprised. No Enith.
She seems to have... Let's see. What would Enith have done? I think Enith being dropped off here would part ways and just say she's looking for a specific pyromancer, which was part of her backstory. And now that she's in the location that she wants to be in, she no longer requires your companionship, unfortunately.
Well, then when she says her goodbyes, Hedges looks around warily and says, I was willing to give these type the benefit of the doubt before, but after the way they've treated us, well, I'm as soon as to put my halberd in his head than listen to him. So.
Oh, it is quite unfortunate. Oh, by the way, let me go ahead and divvy up the loot. Okay, so we've gone ahead and divvied up Enith's loot as she leaves the party and says, screw this old man, I've had enough. So yeah, who follows the decrepit, elderly senior citizen into the tavern?
I will. Fuck it. If something fun happens from it, so be it.
Hedges puts his gauntlet on your shoulder in solidarity, pulls out his winged knight halberd, and just kind of uses it as a walking stick, moving forward with a very meaningful stare on the back of the Hollow's head.
I'll give you one of those, like, behind the back, one-eye acknowledgements.
Perfect. He knows what's up. All right.
Sounds good. Anyone else following them, or is there? Are you guys exploring on your own?
None of your fucking business, Brandon.
Okay. All right.
John will trail along behind as well with his weapons and shield at the ready.
What is that colossal-sized dinosaur-looking motherfucker in the background with his CR of 26? I wonder. Okay.
No. All right, I take it back.
Okay, so
his name is Garnefeld. Sorry.
Yeah.
Get fucked, nerd.
What was Yumi doing?
I was going to scout ahead a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Like, not until I actually need to worry about combat.
So, as you guys, wander forward through this small shanty town, you see Hollows stare at you blankly, fixing their gaze on you unendingly. They are not turning. They are locking eyes with you uncomfortably as you walk past them, stopping, all tasks to see these somewhat living folk, living dead folk who are not hollowed as they are, and sort of seem to envy you in a way. So Yumi, you walking forward, this seems to be the edge of the settlement. You see nothing but another fortress gate that is guarded by blue sentinels and a large steel gate that is closing off the settlement from the forest outside, as well as ballistas on the walls. So, he's going to go ahead and bring you guys into the tavern, which is this building right here. So, Yumi, were you continuing to scout forward towards the fortress's end, or were you following them into the...
I'll keep going forward.
Okay, cool. So, Jarnefelt, Hedges, and Sayerbold are going to follow Anselm into the tavern. And then, was Yumi doing anything in specific?
I'm just trying to get a feel of the area ahead.
Okay. If I give you some, if you take some time to just sort of explore this area, and sort of have like a attunement with the area, I can give you like a temporary favored terrain as long as we're in here, so that you have sort of a reason to explore and have some sort of benefit to it.
Alright.
So, the the large double wooden doors screech and creak forward, covered in dust and cobwebs, and he leads you into this tavern, and we'll go ahead and move forward. Okay. All right, yeah. So yeah, Yumi's not there.
So the first thing I know damn well what to ask the moment I walk into any bar. Does anybody look like they're gonna fuck me up immediately? Does anybody look like weird or unique, or is anybody wearing anything?
Look like a quest giver?
Yeah, for real.
So it's an empty tavern for the most part, very quiet. Doesn't really look like it's seen much use, covered in dust. Just in a layer of dust. And there are only two hollows here besides the bartender, and they just seem to have 1,000-yard gaze. They're just staring off into nowhere, not speaking, not moving, just sitting there breathing and pondering. Or they might have absolutely nothing on their minds at all, but it's just sort of an eerie, somber, sad place to be. That just has no shed of life at all. But the Anselm doesn't seem to have any broken spirits about it. He seems to be, jovial despite. And he walks forward to the barkeep, which is a bit taller and muscular of a hollow. And he walks up to him and says, Saren, how are you doing this fine evening? We have some guests. And Saren looks to all of you and just goes, He goes, well, Saren, is there a possibility that you could give us a round of ale in these trying times for our new guests who have taken an interest in our small settlement? And he goes, And he goes back to the barrels, pulls out some mugs, goes ahead and lets out a faucet. And you see what looks to be curdled, old ale that has been what's it called? Just exposed to the elements. Oxidized. Exposed to the elements for a little too long with these broken up barrels. And it's just sort of a sludge that drains into the mugs. And he makes 5 of them and slaps them on the table, or slaps them on the in the bar. And Anselm licks his lips, seems to think that they're absolutely delicious. And he's like, all right, thank you very much. Let's go ahead and head to the table. I'll pull up a chair. Get comfortable. And he directs you guys to the chair in the center.
Jarnafeld's going to stay in the doorway. Make sure no one else follows us in.
Is this shit gonna fucking kill me if I drink it?
Well, I don't know, man. You look. Do you want to make any sort of checks on it? Looking at
you bet your ass.
The curdled.
I assume it looks like somebody took a shit in my fucking cup. So you bet your ass.
Yeah.
All right. So what am I rolling for that?
What do you want to discover about it?
I don't. If it's gonna fucking murder me or not.
Okay.
Medicine.
Yeah,
nature.
make a medicine check.
All right, that's a good one.
That's 17. It's not deadly or toxic, but you can tell that it has. It definitely would be not nutritious in any way, shape, or form, and it seems only a dead man's stomach would not really have any awareness of its noxious qualities.
I don't know, boys. Do we want to risk it? I man.
Hot dog. But that was me, not you.
I'll know what I'll do. I am gonna pull one of those. I will graciously accept your drink and do one of those, like, put it to my lips once and never touch it again for the rest of our engagement.
Okay.
Sort of like excuses.
Are you going to pretend to drink from it, or are you gonna take a sip?
I'll take a sip fucking first time, but...
Well, that's going to be a Constitution roll.
You fucking piece of garbage.
I'm not the one drinking garbage currently.
All right, I'm okay with a 14.
Yeah, so definitely tastes absolutely awful. Tastes like kombucha or whatever it's called.
All right, yeah.
Just a big hunk
Ass.
of bacteria.
Some liquid ass.
Yeah. So you definitely hold back vomiting, but it doesn't seem to have any permanently negative effect on you except just tasting awful.
Being goddamn awful. Okay.
And it appears that the bartender is just also looking at you blankly, but he is sort of in his docile state, expecting some sort of review of his drink.
Fuck.
As he sits there with a drop of saliva slowly pouring down from his mouth.
As monotone as possible. It's not the worst thing I've ever had.
Oh. And he goes back to fixing more drinks. And
sorry, dog.
And you see now that Anselm is sitting jovially on this wooden chair, both hands resting on a staff, in front of him, and has just a quiver of a smile as he waits for you all to join him at the table.
Head just sits across from him, and when offered the drink, just puts his hands up and simply says, "Solemn vow," and leans his halberd against his shoulder as he sits down with the butt of it on the floor, just comfortably, pushed a little bit away from the table, watching him warily but in a relaxed enough position, like he doesn't look like a threat.
Jarnafelt's like leaning against the door, keeping an eye on what's going on outside and what's happening inside at the same time.
Okay. Enough with the drinks. They are fucking dog shit, but we got through it. So what is this guy? What does he have to say?
Quest completed.
Yeah. I do not trust this dude as far as I could throw him, but I'm willing to listen to whatever the hell he's got to say.
Okay, so were you wanting to join him at the table as he looks to you with a...
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I'm fucking dumb.
And then what is it that Yumi is doing as you have gotten a temporary favored terrain of the Undead Settlement?
I would keep scouting forward, looking for paths, trying to lead anywhere while avoiding as much confrontation as possible.
Yeah, I would say the settlement seems to be locked up good.
Good
there's no way out unless you were going to go to the gates and try to converse with the blue sentinels that are and are gazing over the forest, trying to see if any sort of threats are emerging from them. They seem to be on high alert, which is interesting. But yeah, so if you're going to go ahead and keep on scouting around, seeing if you can find anything, we will see if that will be to your benefit at all. Jarnafelt continues to warily lean against one of the walls like a cool guy. And
very cool.
And Hedges.
Oh, that's funny. Fuck. All right.
And Hedges and Cerebral join him at the table. As he then looks to see that not everybody is here and there are still open seats, so he goes ahead and he scoots up with a which sounds like he's trying to let out a poop, but it's it's just him being an old man trying to stand up from a chair. So he go ahead and scoots out of his chair and shuffles across the rough, dusty planks that make up the wooden floor, and slowly sits down next to you as his joints creak and pop. And he says, he would say, "Once again, welcome to our small little nick of the woods outside of the large, expansive, dangerous world of Lordrin, outside of this settlement. You say you're here on an adventure. I really only know of one adventure that remains in these lands, that many undead have trekked through here trying to pursue, but have unfortunately come to their untimely demise, or timely, depending on your perception. I don't think I need to mention or say the very words of the adventure that you are going on.
And
Seems pretty
Hedges
obvious.
just prompts, no.
Well, have you been successful at all? I see that there's really only one direction you might have come from, and that would be Lothric Castle. Were you able to scrounge your way around the castle like cowards? Or were you able to sort of bring down any of the monstrosities that lurk below its walls?
And Hedges looks over at Sayerbold and he says, well, we got by and we're here. Speaking of, this place is rather well fortified, so he essentially just dodges the whole question. Why is that?
So was that all you were going to say, sort of just waiting for him to comment on that?
Yeah, why is this so well fortified?
He narrows his eyes and gives sort of an eerie silence as he musters up the courage to speak, and he lets out a deep sigh and says, well, we are victims here. We are seen as sort of sacrificial entities for the church that lurks beyond the forest. There is a place known as the Cathedral of the Deep, where worshippers of a once prominent cleric called Aldrich has now bubbled back from the abyss in an attempt to be fed. He has what we are told an unending appetite for death, and it is his unwavering evil followers that were able to burn the remaining undead settlements, and we are the only ones left. They seek blood, and they seek flesh. They seek any sort of sacrifice they can muster for their new god, and we are all that remains.
And Hedges just kind of grunts and says, and are you fearful to be wagging your tongue about this? Kind of like hitting on tongue a little heavily.
I was when this happened. I was just about to do the same thing. I was going to look over to him and be like, "Yeah, so that was really fucking forward. What the hell?"
And then I'll make an insight check as I ask that, or a perception. See if I get any type of response from him involuntarily.
Okay.
Actually, I want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is this, is it just a perception roll or insight?
Insight.
Oh, sorry for rolling perception, but whatever.
You're good.
18, baby!
There it is.
He seems to be, Sayerbold's able to sort of hone in on the reason for him being so forward. He seems to be sort of anticipating some help. Seeing as you guys are wandering adventures, from his tone of voice and his mannerisms, it seems that he's sort of hoping that you stay. And he says, well, these are desperate times. The Blue Sentinels, although here to protect us, they are not protectors that we are too fond of. They are very watchful, and they seem to see us as nothing more than cattle to be protected for their own religious gains. But we see ourselves as very much people who maintain the culture of our town, what little remains of it. We do not want to be sheltered and caged in for the rest of our lives. Some of us may, but I am still a jovial, hopeful spirit. if it is possible, you being traveling adventurers, seeking either to end this troubled time or bring about a new one, we would hope that you might be able to help us against these invaders from the cathedral, maybe end their invasions.
Hedges just kind of leans back in his chair and looks over at Sayerbold, looks back over at the hollow and says, well, our business takes us beyond this town. As we said, this was just a way stop. And last time we went out of our way to pledge ourselves to some hollow's defense. Well, I still need to get the back of my armor prepared from that dagger. And he kind of narrows his eyes and says, I'm all for protecting the weak in fighting the unjust. But it seems here that this age, this new world, has precious little left. What could you do, possibly, to convince us that you are truly righteous and not deserving of this fate before you?
Well, we are not righteous by any means, but we are humble folk. We harm no one, and we are here to tend to our gardens, remain with a peace of mind, and try the very best we can to die. It seems death is not here to come for us yet, but we are hopeful that if we continue to tend to the land, maybe the spirits that lurk within the trees might be able to bring us some peace, if the gods choose not to.
Head just kind of scratches his beard and says, well, that's interesting, because it seems to me if we leave you alone, you'll be dying a whole lot quicker.
Yes, indeed. But we would prefer to die good deaths and not be thrown into the cathedral like cattle.
And
Head
just sees that he pushed it a little too far and says, that be the right of it.
I'd look over at Hedges and say, yeah, I believe not men wish to be cattle to be slaughtered, if nothing else to earn their deaths.
And he nods and says, I used to hold fast to these virtues as well. Perhaps this new time has just jaded me a bit. You are right.
I will say, although I'm assuming the Blue Sentinels did not tell you of it, as you did not enter this village with the knowledge, but the invasions have been relentless. They are ever more keen on taking our bodies from us to sacrifice to their god, and our fortress walls are withering away. It seems it is only a matter of time before our land that had been given to us hundreds of years prior for us to protect will succumb to the ways of this dark god and his abyssal reign on this land. Please, if you have any rightfulness, holiness, and civilness in your hearts, we must be defended. Please make your way to the cathedral if you can. Find a way to stop this madness.
I'd look at Hedges and say, though on a quest of our own, do we have the time to spare?
And Hedges shrugs and looks down at the drink that he didn't need and says, it seems now all we have is time. And looks up back at the hollow once more and says, tell us what you can about these invaders, what we could possibly do or could give us an edge in the fight against them. If we're going to go on your behalf, please arm us with knowledge and what good you can.
All right, and he go ahead and would take a long swig of his curdled ale.
Oh God, that's still sick as fuck. God, that's sick as shit.
Has to chew on it a little bit as it goes down.
Oh, shut the fuck up!
Yeah, you can hear the.
Why make it worse?
Falling down his esophagus.
As he drinks it, Jarnafelt gives a little shudder over by the door,
Oh.
shaking his head.
Okay, and he seems to finish it and slams it onto the table and wipes away the remaining of the ale from his lips with his ragged sleeve. Lets out another sigh and says, "They use and wield a profane fire, only gifted to the gods by what soul remains staining this land by Lord Gwyn, the original fireholder, many eons past. Aldrich using this profaned flame, as well as the abyss that has been etched into his soul from the ground, wields it as a Lord of Cinder. If we encounter these invaders and they do find their way through the walls, be wary of this profaned flame, for it is able to reach the very soul and corrupt it. They are spellcasters. They are mages of darkness, priests of dark energy, and priests of their corrupted deity. They will use whatever methods they can to bring you to your knees and convince you to join their cause, with or without your knowledge and consent. They have the power to influence minds in a very unholy and powerful way.
So what defense do you have against them? Or what aid can you give us in our future battle? I'd give, I think before his answer, I'd give Hedges a, one of those big-eyed sort of recognition, like the acknowledgement, like, hey, we're here to knock that guy out anyway. So 2 birds, 1 stone, right?
Right, absolutely.
Okay. Anyway.
If we had a proper defense from them, we would not be seeing invasions from them these past decades. As you probably saw, our gates are at their ends, caved in, rusted, broken down, cobblestone from the fortress lying on the floor, leaving gaps. It is almost to the end for us.
Have you tried have you tried nothing that has worked? Or has it really been as hopeless as you say?
We've lost quite a few Blue Sentinel soldiers who have guarded us. I fear for their true ability in battle against them. They seem to just hold them back ever so slightly enough for them to retreat and gain more reinforcements, but never truly making progress in the fight against them. Without your help, it seems quite hopeless.
Hedges grunts and says, "And is there none among ye that would be able to join us? Perhaps someone practiced in the arts of magic, someone who could heal or lend power to us with arcane means." He says,
go ahead.
Or divine. Yeah, I think I would add at the very end of that and say, or divine.
And Hedges shrugs and looks over and says, "Such would be ideal for our accompaniment."
He leans back in his chair and raises what would have been his eyebrow, and sort of leans back and forth, deciding whether or not to speak. And he brings himself forward once more and puts his elbows on.
I would give another one of those eyes over to him, like, what the hell's taking so long for this answer? Anyway, just nonverbal communication.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, Hedges is starting to get a little fidgety.
Yeah, like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? That's not like a dog. Hey, we're about to like take on your quest. Can you help? And the guy's like, oh fuck, I don't know about that.
He says, well, I promised to keep his visitation here discreet. I did not assume that adventurers would find their ways through our gates, especially what seems to be capable adventurers. But I believe now is the time to remove my silence. We do have a pyromancer here, from a very far way away indeed, who found himself into these gates to keep shelter. He gives us the resources that we need and sort of a magic defense that we require. and we in turn give him a place to stay. He is an odd one, indeed, a very willful and independent one who does not get along with the Blue Sentinels too well, but we tolerate his presence here. You might find use in him, as I know that he is a very talented sorcerer indeed, who might offer aid if he takes a liking to you. He is a hermit indeed.
Hedges says, "Can you arrange a meeting?"
Well, not me personally, since I wouldn't want the cat to get out of the bag that I had given this information to you. He would not be too happy with that.
I'd stop him right there and say, like in the middle of a sentence, and be like, he's going to ask why we're there anyway, and I've got no reason to lie to him. So he's going to find out it's you whether or not. So you better be the one to look him in the eye and tell him why we're there. Because either it's you or it's me, dog.
And remember, we're doing this on your behalf.
Right there you are. There's really no arguing with that. All right.
He's not going to kill you, is he?
He's unpredictable, that's for sure. It's really dependent on his mood at the time.
Oh, great. Okay, that's convenient.
Well, his name is Cornix. He is from an old place far away called the Great Swamp, where many pyromancers and sorcerers before him once made their home. I will go ahead and arrange a meeting for him this evening. In the meantime, you can set up lodging and a place of rest in the basement of my home. It is the least I can do with you very greatly deciding to help me and my fellow townsfolk from the oncoming invasion.
Hedges nods and says, "Aye, and are there popsicles down there?"
What?
Oh, shut the fuck up. We have frozen it, unfortunately. So, he would just ask before we arrange this meeting and give people your proper place of rest. Are there any questions you have about this particular spot of territory that we reside on, expansing of many healthy forests as far as the eye can see? There are many secrets within this land.
Then what secrets do you have to tell?
I guess I set myself up for that one. And,
oh, I'll give him a cheer, like with the mug, but I'm not fucking drinking from that. Never again.
He would say, well, since you are in fact interested and willing to help, I guess I could give you some more information as to the fate of us previously. As I have said, this is the very last remaining settlement in this land. A land that was once very prosperous, with villages scattered all across the forest. The very last settlement before ours had been visited by what we only hoped would be the Cathedral of the Deep. Instead, a grey, large demon from we know not where, probably the swamps, had wandered his way into our forest and tore down the gates of the previous settlement. Many did not survive. The land was laid to ruins and laid to scorching flame. But the Blue Sentinels did arrive at the very last moment, which we are very grateful for and can give them some benefit of the doubt for. And they managed to save very few of us. And that very few is what resides here today. But we do know that there are some who remain that are trapped within the walls of that destroyed settlement. And if you wish, you may find it for yourself. And if you continue to be kind and humble folk to help us rescuing the remaining villagers from that settlement, would be very much appreciated as well.
Wait, so is he saying that he's under attack from a separate settlement as well as?
He's saying that there is a settlement that was destroyed by a wandering gray demon that had found its way into the forest from the swamps and found a settlement. One of the last.
Oh, a different settlement.
Destroyed it. Yep, and that the survivors.
So he's
right.
Okay.
The survivors were rallied up by the Blue Sentinels, brought here, but there are still survivors that are.
Okay, I see.
Settlement.
Okay. So we've got the side quest as well. That sounds fun as fuck. I mean, everything sounds fun as fuck, but that kind of, I have a deep love of hunting monsters, so I'm definitely in the paint ham on that one. Anyway, continue.
Would you say anything showing your interest in it, or would that be low key?
No, I think I would. Well, let me hear what he has to say finishing that. Or was that the end of it?
That's pretty much all he had to say.
Okay, so then I'd inquire. I'm like, okay, well then tell us about this beast.
This beast is from a land, or is from an age very far away indeed. Most of us thought the demons to be extinct, as their flames slowly withered out. But there are still a few lonely remaining wandering the lands in search of a purpose. One of these remaining demons, as I said, just happened to find his way to one of our settlements, and in his rage towards humankind for bringing his race to an end, was able to obliterate it within hours.
How did he do it? Sorry, I don't know if I communicated this correctly. What I meant is like, how did he do it? You know, how big is this thing? What does it look like? If we're going to take this thing out, I want to know what I'm signing up for.
They are the size of a fortress and have flesh just as thick. They tend to large clubs, which they have pulled from the very roots of a trunk with their great strength. They wield a profound masterfulness of the profaned flame, which they exhume and bellow from their very stomachs. They seem to have an unending flame that they're able to unleash upon the land. Very terrifying beasts, indeed.
Is this thing a fucking dragon?
Hedges just looks over at Sairbold and gives one just like slow shake of his head.
We think that an invasion would be just enough. Imagine if one of those stray demons got bored of destroying that settlement and came to us. What little luck we would have then.
Well,
I believe the Blue Settlement, the Blue Sentinels would be willing to offer you a reward if you were able to help them as such. They are people of integrity as well as promise, and they believe that those who give them a gift deserve a gift of equal measure in kind.
I can hardly think of a gift that would be worthy of such an accomplishment.
Neither could I, but
I think I would look over and be like, well, I don't know, I can think of something. My old mercenary mindset is sort of peeking through on this one, like, ooh, money.
They do possess an unscathed throne within our settlement down the road. It used to be the place of their general's residing, but he has since died in battle, and it is now more of a religious temple for prayer. None of us have seen the inside, but I imagine they're hoarding great treasure from years past, and generations past.
I'd say I'm interested, though I personally will want to hear what the rest of our compatriots would desire. though I can at least guarantee that we will help liberate your village.
Oh my goodness. We are very thankful indeed.
Before he would say that, I'd say, I'm interested in taking out the second folly of yours as well, and I hope that we can do something about it, though I'll wait to see what my compatriots say. But what I can guarantee is that we'll aim to liberate your village. Though I'm curious, what will you do to rebuild?
Well, we are not craftsmen by any means. We are not builders. It seems really all we can have and do left is remain in this village as humble farmers and gardeners. But we could probably use the tools and resources and gather the wood from the destroyed settlement, and over the years possibly rebuild it for hollows of future generations if you adventurers happen to be successful in your quest. And if you are interested in finding this stray demon that has wandered into our settlement, there is a bell tower that was used in the First Age through the forest, through a very long dirt trail. Within this bell tower is a lift that takes its way below the mountain, where this settlement resides in the Road of Sacrifices. Find your way there, make your way through the tower, and you will find this old land.
All right, I'd look at Hedges and say that or I guess I would just kind of give a nod. That's sort of okay. I'm ready to go. Like, yeah,
and
I feel like we've got a little bit more direction and we've got something to fight for. Actually, that's probably what I'd say. We've got a direction. We've got something to fight for. Either way.
Indeed, our focus well. Those of us who have kept our sanity and remain having part of their soul left, I believe I could rally up some folk to fight for this cause and give them a just death.
Hedges puts his gauntlets on the table, pushes back, and stands up and says, "Well, you've given us much to think about, and we look forward to speaking with you more in depth this evening over meeting with the pyromancer. But before we go, a quick question. Does the name or word Mound Makers mean anything to you?"
He lets out a shiver, and he says, "Well, you all seem to have more information than I ever suspected of this land. Yes, I have heard of the Mound Makers. Rumors, horror stories. They tend to keep them to themselves. They are very solitary folk, but they are also very brutal folk if you come across them in the darkness, unprepared."
And he says, "Have you maybe an inkling as to where you may find these? Obviously, you don't want to come across their ilk, but if we are ridding the world of vermin one at a time in this campaign, perhaps we can add that to the list."
The forest hides many secrets indeed. It is a dark place for those with dark purposes, much like the Mound Makers. If you find your way through the trail to the Road of Sacrifices at the bell tower, I believe there is a guardian of the bell tower that, if he trusts you, and maybe you could give him a little bit of what he needs, might direct you towards the Pit of Hollows where they reside. But us, we keep word of the Mound Maker, the Mound Makers, as quiet as we possibly can, and I myself would personally prefer not to divulge in any further conversation about them.
And Hedges says, "Perhaps another time then." And he scratches his beard and says, "Something we could give a lonely man at a tower. Well, maybe our friend Yumi could help with that." And he says, "Right, later." And then he stands up and walks out.
I will personally castrate you.
Oh, God. He says,
right, I I'll bid the man adieu and shake his hand.
Okay. It is cold, clammy, and bony with shriveled flesh.
Ew, gross.
He shakes your hand and he says, "You may find your way down the dirt trail to the very house at the end with the boarded-in windows and the flickering candle within. That will be my home. You may stay there until this evening, when I can gather the courage to speak with Cornix and get him in touch with you. Have a good rest of your evening."
Give him a gentle nod and a tip of the helm, and I head out.
Righty.
Wait. Actually, you don't have to go back onto the other screen or anything. But I'd ask him, how will he let us know how does he intend to get in contact with us?
I will meet you at my home, of course.
Okay. Oh yeah, I guess that's true. It's not really that big.
Okay, and then Yumi, you have properly explored this small settlement surrounded by large cobblestone walls. Is there anything? Would Jarnefelt speak, with his companions about this, mission that they'd agreed to? Is it something that he's also interested or opposed to?
If it's on the way, I'm always looking for signs of the Knights of Bear Lake, so maybe Demon knows something.
That is correct. That might be a thing that we could find. So, Yumi, what is it that you plan on doing now? Are you joining your companions once more, or?
I'd talk to the guards first.
Sure. So, you go ahead and go up to the gate, and you, strain your neck to look up to them. They don't seem to notice you as they are peering across the forest on high alert, trying to, guard the best they can. So you're going to have to shout up to them if you want to speak to them. And it is on the opposite end of the settlement that you came from.
Let's see. Hello, guards.
The closest one looks down to you and what is it you want, traveler? We're very busy guarding this village.
Sitting around on your ass guarding nothing.
That's precisely why I want to talk to you. Why is this place so guarded?
Never you mind, traveler. This is our business and our business alone. If we need your assistance, we will say so, but there are many dangers lurking in the forest, and that is our duty here to protect the defenseless within this village. Not yours. Carry on, villager. Excuse me, adventurer.
So be it. And I'll wander back to the group.
Okay. So we now all gather outside of the decrepit tavern and meet up once more. And you are told that his home is right here with the boarded windows and the flickering candlelight within. And all meeting together. What is it that we do?
Well, I assume we're given the go ahead, as it were, and I'll be the first to walk right in, I suppose.
Okay.
No reason to be shy about it at this stage.
Was Yumi given some information? I'm assuming you guys would speak on what your newfound quest was and see if it's something she'd be interested in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Pretty much just give the rundown of we're already on our way to take out a Lord of Cinder anyway, so it's two birds, one stone with this guy's quest is liberating the village, so that's sort of what we're already on the way to handle that one guy anyway. So it gives us a reason to fight. However, the one thing I will point out, or ask about rather, is this other, great beast in the forest that has destroyed another settlement. If that folly is one that is, if we desire to do anything about that as well.
so be it. It is just another task on the list.
Hedges kind of grunts and says, "Well, we've fought some mighty foes, but that seems much beyond our measure from the way described. Now, I know that tales grow in the telling, but the size of a fortress, well, we fought some big bastards, that's for true. But something tells me that we're not quite ready for this foe."
Then maybe on the way around, after we take care of our folly, if we may, or our primary objective, if on our way back to tell the tale of our exploits to this young and innocent, or not young, I'm sorry, this very old but innocent village, if we find ourselves in better equipment and stronger spirits, then maybe then we may take our blades to their neck, or to its neck, rather.
Hedges seems satisfied with this new approach.
Awesome.
Jarnfeld nods.
Then on the back burner of the wood stove it goes.
Ooh, waxing poetic.
Thank you.
Into the side quest log that you never.
Yeah, the fucking journal entry.
Yeah.
Dum dum. I wish we could still have random audio on Roll20, which they have completely taken away, so I can just do the quest added sound from Skyrim. That would be great, but I can't.
Did they really? Like, you can't do the the arrow thwacks and stuff like that?
Oh no, they didn't take away that stuff, but like a year ago, you could just like put in music. Like you can type in a song, put it in, or type in a soundtrack, put it in. Now it's super restricted, and it has to be just like, throwaway tracks.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's really lame.
Yeah, man, you used to be able to put anything in back in the day.
What, were people just using that as hacking exploits? Like what was the problem?
I have no clue what happened and why they took it out.
Copyrighted music.
It's garbage, dude.
Yeah, copyright. I can damn near guarantee it's copyright.
Yeah. Someone used the Mulan soundtrack and it brought it all down.
Right. Fucking exactly, dude.
All right, so it has approached evening. It's good to sort of have a long time we've spent on our journey. So,
did he ever direct us to where the hell we can grab some a trader, just to talk to a trader and sell some shit that we've got and see if we can see if he's got anything for sale that might I need some crossbow bolts. That's why I ask, because I have 5 crossbow bolts left.
You can see what looks like a shop with sort of a wooden sign hanging by rusted chains in front of a doorway over. Looks like it's open for business. No visitors, but it looks like it's open for business.
I'll walk in. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm gonna poke my little wee head in there, see what's going on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna see what the store's got.
Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and head toward this humble shop. So we've exited the shop, and it is now dusk. There are no hollows that are wandering around the Undead Settlement. All the doors to the shanty houses are locked shut. It seems everybody is heading in for the night, as we hear nothing but the faint whisper of the wind and flowing of the blades of grass beneath our feet as the moon peaks over the horizon. And at this point, our next thing was we wanted to give Cornix a visit.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Cornix fucking battery. All right, sorry.
Ha. So
yeah.
So we don't see the old man in sight, who promised us that he would go ahead and give Cornix a visit to try and help you guys. But we do see the candlelight flickering in his home still.
Alright, I'll walk right in. I don't give a shit.
Okay, the door is...
I should say I'll knock.
The door is slightly creaked open, welcoming visitors.
Oh, alright, yeah, then I will walk in.
Okay. Anyone else? The Blue Sentinels are still guarding the top of the fortress, although it seems that new guards are positioned there on another shift.
Jarnefeld to go in too.
Is everyone following close behind into the home?
Sure.
Yeah. Hedges has his halberd, though, customarily back out on his shoulder.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
Jarnefeld's ready to rock too.
So this will be a bit of a theater of the mind as we head into this old man's home. It is stuffy and small and cramped, but it does have a wooden hatch leading down to a basement. It has a crackling fireplace made of cobblestone in the corner of the log and wood house, and you can see the old hollow rocking back and forth on a simple rocking chair in front of the fireplace on a dirty carpet. And he goes ahead, and it looks like he's sipping some gross beverage made for only undead stomachs once again. And he looks back to greet you and says, welcome. And he looks a little nervous, knowing that you were expecting him to get Hornix.
Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't even say anything. I'm just going to walk in and look at him. Because he knows. He fucking knows.
And then I'm going to whisper, you fucking know.
Jarnefeld's going to nod.
He says to you, he sighs at first and he says, I told you Cornix was a sort of an oddball, chaotic, and unpredictable. He said when I asked him if he could have visitors tonight, adventurers who are looking to acquire goods from him or the power that he wields, he says that he had a pig that needed to be tended to. And it was really all that he had to say. And I did not attempt to push any further than that. Perhaps tomorrow morning, whatever he spoke of will be done with, and he would be willing to accept visitors.
Yeah. I'll give him a fucking pig to deal with.
Hedges says, where is his abode?
Okay. Well, it probably wouldn't be to visit him right now. I don't want to be responsible for leading adventurers to his house when he strictly hinted towards me that it was not something that he was wanting to inquire about.
Bruh, there's literally like fucking 6 hovels in this whole village. Just tell us where he's at.
Perhaps you would stay the night and wait until he's in a better mood in the morning?
Not here. Not with you, bro. Not with what you're drinking.
Hedges shrugs and just says, we truly don't mean to make offense, and we surely won't bother him this evening. But, as you can understand, we must exercise caution. So, we would like to just get a better understanding of what we're dealing with before we meet with this unstable fellow.
Well, he is a powerful pyromancer who sort of beats to his own drum. He's a hermit. He usually doesn't like to be disturbed, doesn't associate himself with the village or the Blue Sentinels at all, and just sort of minds his own business and expects to be minded alone in return.
And Hedges says, yes, and so you've said before. Again, we would just like to peek in on him. We're not going to bother him tonight. Surely you can understand that. Now, which house did you say it was?
All right, as long as you don't, if he finds you and becomes angered, as long as you don't put my name into it, I guess I could point you in the direction of his home.
Out of character, 100% blaming it on this guy if we get up.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Oswald would go ahead, let you know that the cobbled together shanty house with the strings of animal bones and skulls that is stringed above the doorway to the bottom left of the settlement, to the southwest of the settlement, would be his abode.
Jarnefeld's gonna turn and leave.
And Hedges says, much appreciated, and there's nothing to worry about. We'll be back soon, eh? And leaves as well.
Okay. Good luck out there. He would continue drinking his beverage and rocking in front of the crackling fireplace.
Does anyone else had a black?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
got a black screen.
Yeah, it was just a sort of theater of the mind.
Alright.
Okay. So, you guys go ahead and head out and find this shanty home. And you do, in fact, see a small, cobbled together, leaning wooden home that has a string of animal bones and skulls that are lined atop the door. And it has sort of a hide beast carpet that is in front of the staircase leading up to his doorway. It is completely dark inside. There are no candles lit.
Is there do we see a pig anywhere around here?
Want to make a perception check?
Absolutely, because it's a giant meme. I'm 100% rolling perception for a pig. I really hope it's like a fucking minotaur.
Actually,
Hell
just
yeah,
meeting up
22,
with
baby.
Enith.
Right. Fucking pig. All right. Yeah, you can tell that there's definitely a pig nowhere in sight in this quiet village.
That motherfucker.
Could be a metaphorical pig.
We'll find out.
Okay, so we seeing that there are no physical pigs, literal pigs, anywhere in this village, do we approach his small Blair Witch abode?
I want to
Oh,
go
absolutely.
back. Oh, you want to go in? No. Hedges says, well, I'm not sure if there would be much profit to this, and ultimately, we can discern his motives when we speak with him. Best to start on the right foot, eh?
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I will listen to reason on this one, and
Jarnefeld's lost interest. He's looking for a place to sleep.
Okay.
All right, let's go back to Creepy Larry's house. And
Okay. All right, so he's still rocking in his rocking chair in front of the fireplace. He's finished his mug of drink, and says, "Back already?"
And he says, "Yep, just had a pig we had to deal with. And where should we head next?"
I see.
yes.
Well, the basement is unlocked. It is quite cramped, but it'll have to do for the night.
Jarnefeld is not going to sleep in this man's basement. I will sleep outside if I have to.
Yeah.
What
What
about
about the big fire that they keep going? Is that
It is
still
still
ablazing?
lit, yes.
I
It
would like.
glows in the center of the dark town.
Can we set up like our bedrolls under the tree behind the fire?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good.
Imagine not sleeping in the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at my heavy armor, I just frown dubiously.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bid him good night and very sternly remind him that we look forward to that meeting tomorrow. And
I see.
but be kind about it, not blaming him. And head out and go try and set up for the night.
Shall
Sounds
we
good.
keep a watch?
As always.
As every D&D session goes, yes. All right.
Hedges will take first watch.
Let's see here. All right, so you guys go ahead and set up below the tree. So let me go ahead and I'm going to not reveal this right now. Okay. So it is a very quiet night. And once again, we just hear the whispering of the wind as we gaze up to a starry sky in this brisk night. Grass flowing once again, and we can hear the popping of and the roaring of this large fire below this tree with blossoms in its leaves. And many hours go by, very quiet and uninteresting. Let's go ahead and make a perception roll.
All of us?
Yes. Whoever's not sleeping.
That would be me.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, just
Perception. Yes.
I would be sleep. I have no reason not to sleep, so I will be sleeping.
Did it not roll?
Aren't we all taking a watch?
Oh, hot damn! 24.
nice.
Oh,
So,
I guess. Hold on. Do you mean at this moment? Who's not sleeping?
Right. Whoever's not sleeping. After you guys all decide who is going to bed.
Okay, I would be sleeping.
Yeah, Head just said he's taking the first watch, so I guess I get to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got that 23 then. So you sitting up. I'm assuming just leaning against this living, healthy, large, heavy tree. You begin to hear howling and snarling in the distance, very faint. And in addition to that, you can hear the dragging of chains against dirt and the murmuring of prayer. And as you do, this sound becomes ever closer as the chains become louder, as does the howling and the snarling. And you can hear the blue sentinel soldiers shouting from the top of the fortress, "Man your guards! Man your stations!"
Well, as that's happening, I'm yelling at my party to get up and whatever area they are, the sentinels are running to. I want to rush up into the wall there as well.
Okay.
With my two new hand axes drawn.
All right. Okay, so you guys rush. You guys rush to the gate.
Groggily and follows Hedges.
And at this point, we can all hear the barking and snarling. We can hear the dragging chains, and we can hear prayer and cackling from beyond the gate. As we get up, we hear a loud bash, crash, and break of this steel gate. Ballista rounds fly into the air. And moving forward, we see many figures slowly finding their way through the gate.
Did they bust through before Hedges had a chance to get to the wall?
Yeah, as soon as you stand up and start sprinting over there, you hear the loud crash of the gate as it falls to the dirt floor.
Okay.
And you see before you a line of well-lit torches wielded by large women, grotesque figures with cleric hats and long robes. And they hold holy books in their hands, holy thick books. And behind them are large, hunchbacked, gray undead wielding giant two-handed saws with bent sawtooths caked in blood and large boards on their back held in place by rusted chains to their chest. And behind them we see even more starved, snarling hounds, peasants wielding bent machetes as they swarm through the gates into the Undead Settlement. The cackling of these women clerics, the dragging of the chains of these large, brutish figures, and we can hear the screaming of hollows within their houses. As from the right corner, we hear the blue sentinels come to the aid of the village. And let's go ahead and roll initiative.
Oh, baby!
Oh, there it isn't.
Where? Roll, damn you.
I don't know why every time I roll for initiative, it says you wanted to send the result of this roll to a turn tracker, but no valid token was selected.
You need to click on your character token before you roll for initiative, and then it'll put it in the initiative order.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Good. I screwed myself then. Wonderful.
Oh, well, you don't have to do it again. I mean, he can paste the first one.
Okay.
Alright, and then I just got an 11. And let's roll for these bad boys.
So Sayerbald actually had 15, he just didn't.
Okay. We'll go ahead and add to turn these guys, and they got an 11 as well. And then, what is Hedges' dexterity?
+1.
+1, okay, cool. Okay, so this will be the turn order then. As this nighttime invasion comes across the city, they finally find their way through the fortress walls.
Oh boy.
So that'll be
Alright, so who's up?
Don't I go first?
Yumi, yeah.
I'm going to try and shoot one of the dogs.
Sounds good.
My brand new longbow. Cool.
Dirty 20?
Yep. Right through its ribs.
And no one is near it, so I don't get the sneak attack damage.
Right.
Did that not roll?
You need to click the long bow.
I did, and I clicked the damage. Oh, right. 4.
You need to add your dex modifier, which you're not doing.
Longbow doesn't use dex, it uses strength.
No, that's composite.
Yeah, you can still use your dex.
That is 4 plus 4 for 8 then. I'll change that.
Okay, let me go ahead and get everybody's health pool here. Okay, so a total of, you said 8 damage?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. Alright, and it lets out a bark of pain. So next up would be Jarnafal, unless there's anything else you can do.
That's my action.
Okay.
Jarnafelt is going to toss a javelin at the same dog.
Sounds good. Alright, critical hit. Goes through its skull.
So it's 2 7s? Or how does crits work?
7 and a 2. Okay, so this dog is hurting very badly and bleeding out of its wounds profusely.
Do you roll double damage for a crit?
It did. It did the +2.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. So next up then will be Hedges.
Hedges says, "Aim for the priestesses, you fools," and he will throw each of his hand axes at that one. Priestess on the left, my left.
Sounds good. Let's see what we got here. Alright, that is a hit. Let's out a cry. Alright, just one moment. Okay, and 11 slashing damage. Okay, slashing right through its robes into its fat rolls.
Hell yeah!
And then he'll go ahead and throw the other.
Ooh, I forgot to roll for the blue sentinels. Let me go ahead and just add them to turn at the end.
Cool.
Okay. And that second throwing axe also rips through its cleric robes into its flesh. All right, good hits, good hits.
Hey, can we like turn down this music a little bit? Because
Yeah,
I'm getting an echo. Thank you. That's perfect.
All right, cool. All right, and after your initial attacks, next up are these...
Oh, hold on. After that, Hedges is going to move back 30 feet. So you said each one of these squares is 10
feet. Yep.
All right.
Okay. All right, and that'll be it then?
Yep, that'll be it.
Okay, dokie. See if I've got the right sheet up for this. Just a minute. Okay. Ooh, I know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Let's see what our range is. Okay. So, they're all going to rush ahead. Starved hounds are going to snarl and head around these buildings. One going towards the blue sentinels, as well as these large, hunched over hollows with their giant dual-wielding saws. And the Starved Hound is going to head forward towards Jarnafelt. Let's see. One of the manservants, he's called, is going to also head forward. And these clerics... one of the clerics is going to take cover behind this home. And the second cleric is going to head towards...
baby.
And then the hollow peasants are going to spread out.
Them boys can move.
They sure can. So that's 30. Okay. And the cleric that, the cathedral evangelist that heads towards Sayerbold, I will also say, I forgot to mention this, in one hand they have large steel spiked maces that are as tall as they are. And we can hear them clanking against the floor as they move, sort of using them as staffs. And the cleric that heads towards you, Sayerbold, it spreads out its arms. Spiked mace, heavy spiked mace in one hand, and large spellbook in the other. And the spellbook lights a flame, as well as the hand-wielded spiked mace. And it whispers to you through its mangled yellow teeth. It looks you dead in the eyes with its wide, dead eyes and says to you, "I'll cleanse that bastard's curse." And then goes to try to grapple you with its flaming hands.
Am I close enough to offer protection?
You are 10 feet away.
And,
I can also say that you're 5 feet away as well if you want to be.
Yeah, it's kind of weird with these, isn't it? The 10-foot squares. Sorry to interrupt.
You're good.
Yeah, I'll do protection for him if that helps. If it's not like a dex save or something.
It's gonna be a grapple attack.
Okay.
Yep, so you can do that. That's cool.
So what was your AC, Dakota? Was that a 5 or 15?
No, my AC is... Oh, actually, I wanted to ask this. Do you get Dex bonus with half plate?
Yep, +2.
Okay, so it's +2, so then 17.
Okay, perfect. Alright, let's see if he's able to hit you. Grapple is initiated. And yes, he is.
Fuck! Oh my god, a +7?
Well, he's got disadvantage from the
protection.
So we'll see.
Oh, disadvantage from the protection?
Yeah. Anyone making any.
Oh, god damn it!
Oh, there it is, baby.
Okay, hold on. Why did he get a disadvantage? What protection?
Jarnefelt has the protection fighting style. If there's any type of attack action made within 5 feet of him, he can oppose disadvantage.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, so he, the large, fat woman, in her cleric robes and wielding her steel mace, just grasps at the air as you're able to duck below her flaming hands. And the starved hound is going to go ahead and snarl and attempt to bite Jarnefelt. And let's see if we're able to do that. Oh, crit fail! Sinks its teeth into your shield, and it's going to take 1d4 piercing damage from its own now cracked teeth. 1. Okay, and now it is at incredibly low health. Hit it with a stick, and you'll kill it. So next up is going to be this manservant, surrounded and coiled in chains, wielding his rusty saw. And he's going to stagger over... Well, actually, I think he already moved, so he's going to be just right there. So the evangelist is going to open... The second one back here is going to open her fist, and a black swirling spell is going to conjure in her hands, and she's going to go ahead and toss it over to Jarnefelt as it quickly finds its way to his body, and splashes on his chest with a acidic sort of singe. And let's see if you're able to withstand that. Let me go ahead and go back to the Cathedral Evangelist. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. The black smog in its hand goes ahead and separates into 3. And it affects... it goes for... Where the heck is... Hedges? Oh, all the way back there. It goes for Jarnefelt, Sayerbold, and Yumi as it separates. So all of you are going to have to make a charisma saving throw.
Oh shit, charisma.
Hey!
Yeah!
Oh god.
Oh no!
Holy shit.
Hey, it's alright, you can't crit fail saving throws. So there's that. It's just, you're not passing
Sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and signify that you have been affected by this spell.
Oh, no.
Super affected by this spell. So, what's going to happen is this is going to be a spell that is continual until a amount of time has passed that you do not know. And what's going to happen is before this spell ends, you must roll... whenever you make an attack roll or a saving throw, you must roll a d4 and subtract the number rolled from the attack roll or saving throw.
Oh, you fucking bitch. Okay.
So let me go ahead and put that in the chat here.
Do they get to save from it each round?
Let me go ahead and we'll check that as well. No,
And then how long does it last?
you do not know. So far, it's just happening. Turn. Actually, we're going to have a saving throw for that. So at the beginning of your turn, you can go ahead and try to save for it, but Sayerbold will have disadvantage to that, as well as Jarnefelt for crit failing.
So, oh, okay, I see.
So is it a charisma save then?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so you've got this black aura emanating armor, making you weak. Okay, and the Blue Sentinels have clambered forward, shouting at the invading monstrosities. and they're also going to be attacked. This Starved Hound here is going to attack this blue sentinel. Let's see. Okay, and he has an armor class of. I'll let you guys know your allies' armor class. You guys have an AC of 15. All right, so the Starved Hound is going to attempt to bite through his armor. And he does. And deals... seven piercing damage. As the Blue Knight screams, says, "Damn you, you cursed beast!" And going to take 7 damage. The peasant over here is going to swing his machete at the blue sentinel, and is going to miss, clanging against his shield. And then next up is going to be Sayerbold.
All right. Well, I'm glad that I just got bent over the sink for a while. Let's see what I can do.
Go ahead and make that charisma.
Charisma.
Actually, it's actually going to be at the end of your turn, since it affects your turns rather than.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that'll make it with it.
Oh, that was it though, right? I mean,
That's the
It will
roll.
be at the end of your turns that you make the roll.
What I'm asking is does that count?
Yeah, that counts. That'll just be after this turn.
At the end of the... Okay,
Right,
sweet.
yeah.
Okay. So... I think... What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot a... I don't know if this is going to work. Well... I'm going to shoot a blinding bolt at this Yon dude, her.
Okie-dokie.
And then I have to roll a D4. I don't know if it matters though.
Wait a second, are you rolling heavy crossbow from... Well, I guess you could say it's... Well, it would be 5 feet away since she's, right next to you. So...
Yes, but I have crossbow expert, which means that I can just use it however, it doesn't matter.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so it's not disadvantage.
Nope.
Now, does rolling a D4... Here, I'll just roll it anyway.
Subtracts from the roll.
Oh, 22.
Yep, so that's still going to be a hit.
Okay, and then it's blinding, so it has to make that Constitution save of a 13, or it is blinded.
Ooh, let's see if it can make it. Oh, geez. Let's see what we got here.
Hell yeah!
So how long does it normally last?
I don't know. Let's find out. I just copy and pasted what you said.
Okay.
Started my next turn.
Okay, cool. And
it is blinded for whatever that roll.
It'll happen for starting. Yep, it's going to happen for 2 turns with the crit fail.
Crit fail. Okay. Well, that bitch is blinded. So guess what? I'm getting the fuck out of here without imposing a goddamn.
There you go. Good idea.
Doesn't that still do damage?
So go ahead and do the damage as well.
What are you talking about?
The crossbow bolt still does damage, big dog.
Oh, did I not?
You did not.
How the fuck do I? Oh yeah, my bad. There we go.
Ooh.
Ooh. Wait a second.
Almost. What?
Oh, geez. All right, 13 piercing damage. Jeez. All right.
On top of the.
Oh, it is bludgeoning because of the arrow, but it is 13.
All right. A howl emanates from her body.
Try me, bitch.
All right, that's gonna be it then.
That is all I can do. Move and shoot.
All right. The sentinels begin attack, and they're going to attack. Let's see. The first one. Okay, the first one who got attacked by the Starved Hound is going to slash at him. And he's going to miss. These guys are great. He's going to attack once more and get a hit. And let's see how much damage he does with this guy. Let's see. He's going to deal 5 damage to him, slashing across his neck and screaming, "Ha!" And the one right next to the Starved Hound is going to try to attack this hollow peasant. Let's see what we got here. DC of. Let's go ahead and make that 2 attacks again. Nice. Good slash. And the second one misses, but that good first slash is going to deal 8 damage. They shriek in pain. The third one is going to, let's see, 10, 20, 30. Going to go towards the back and try to hit the peasant behind this one for 2 more attacks. A miss and a miss. Awesome. And he grunts beneath his helmet. And next up will be Yumi.
Let's see here.
And this will be our last round.
Would the blue sentinels count as allies for sneak attack?
They would.
I'm gonna try and help them out with one of that big guy right there.
Cool. How are you gonna do that?
I was gonna shoot him with my longbow.
Sneak attack. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, that goes right over its head. Oh, actually, you can't do that because he's behind this big house.
Damn.
So you can't see him. You can see the hound. You can see the cleric. Cleric would be half cover.
I guess I'll try and take advantage of the other cleric since she's blinded.
Yeah, so that'll be advantage to hit.
5 and where is my short sword?
Nice.
Nice. All right, you stab her right in the
Hell
soul.
yeah.
So 25 total damage plus 1d6 sneaking for a
2d6
30.
sneaking.
Oh
get to
god.
It
double
doubles sneak.
Yeah, it doubles your sneak.
Wow.
So 15, 25, 30, 36 damage.
Jesus.
Whoa!
He lets out a groan of pain and whimpers a pathetic cry as blood drains from her torso.
Jeez, how much she's already taken over 50, almost 60 damage?
Yep. But she is now at very critical health. And then next up is going to be Jarnafeld.
If I move there, do I have to disengage from that dog?
Yes.
Oh,
Never
he's
mind
still
then.
within 5 feet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have to disengage.
Wait, what?
He'd still be within 5 feet if he just moved over the 1 square.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Okay, I'm gonna swing at this almost dead
These will
lady.
be 10 squares of movement, but to make it less complicated, we'll treat them like for attacks. Okay, so that'll be 7 to hit, or 8
So
to hit.
I have to make a charisma roll, don't I?
At the
forgot
end
about
of your turn.
that. Okay.
And then you're going to roll a d4.
Speaking of, can you
Don't I have
take that? Can you take the icon off of my character because I rolled to get out of it?
Oh, yeah, you did. Okay.
Don't I have advantage
Thank you.
because she's blinded or something?
Yep, you advantage because she's blinded, but you also
Take a -4.
take
Or
yeah,
D4.
-4.
D4, I'm sorry. So
Yeah,
I gotta roll
D4.
that. Ooh, 15, baby.
Okay, you are still able to hit.
I'm gonna just Is that enough to kill, or should I use one of my charges?
We'll see.
She is bleeding out and losing consciousness, but she is still alive.
I will use one of my charges. 2d4 force damage.
Nice.
Nice.
Sweet. All right, so you send her flying back, and she falls into the dirt with a heavy blow, and she whimpers to herself as she dies. Cursed undead, will never make it to the church, and then dies. And then next up will be Hedges, and you will no longer be affected by that. Well, actually, you would, because that's a completely different.
I still have to do my charisma save now.
Yeah, charisma save. Oh, Jesus. Alright, your next charisma save is going to have disadvantage.
Won't matter, I'll roll a 1.
Alright. Hedges moved up, and he's going to throw one of the hand axes that came back at him at this dog.
Nice.
Dude, that's so sick. Yeah, those hand axes are gonna rock for a long time.
Dude, I've been wanting to build a thrower for so long, and this kind of just happened to make this guy pretty cool, so I love it. Alright, let's see here. Get yeeted?
Oh my fucking Christ. Okay. Alright, so it lands right in its neck, slashes through it, and pulls itself back out, bringing...
Oh my god, is that max damage?
No.
Is it?
No, it's not max damage.
As it pulls itself back out of the neck severs in half, and it falls in a pile on the floor with its neck hanging from its body.
Awesome.
Dead.
And this one's gone down too, right? Just to make sure.
Oh yeah, yes, as well. That one's gone down.
Okay. Then I will go ahead and throw my other hand axe at this guy.
Okay.
Actually, can I? No, she's got half cover, doesn't she? Right here.
She does.
Okay, so yeah, we'll stick with lumberjack over here. Let's see what.
Cool. Oh, nice. Passes right up against the saw and makes its way to its rib cage as it lets out a howl.
Fantastic. I'm also going to expend one of my maneuvers, and I'm going to use pushing attack, which do you want me to link that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you've done it a couple times, but
so I get to roll a is it D6, D8? What's my... Oh, it's a D8. Okay, so I get to add 1 D8 on top of my damage. It has to make a strength save, or it also gets pushed back 15 feet.
Okay. And then what is the save?
The save here is... Let me get over to my character's DC. Oh, spell DC, that ain't right. So it's 8 plus proficiency plus... That would be 14 would be the DC.
Damn.
Alright, so let me go ahead and roll damage on that bad boy.
Dude, get fucked, nerd.
Yeah, this sucks.
Alright, so 6, and then we'll roll the extra 1d8. So 10 total damage, and he gets pushed back 15 feet.
Jesus. Okay, the rattling of chains rattles as he gets pushed across the dirt. The groan.
Alright, and Hedges will take 1 step back and end his turn there.
Awesome. Let me go ahead and check something out real quick. Okay, and then next up will be the enemies. Once again, this will be our last turn. Let me go ahead and check
Wait,
something.
last turn?
Last turn for this session.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. Just a second, I need to check something real quick. There we go. Alright. So, let's see. The manservant that you pushed back with an angered groan is going to put his dual-wielding saw on his back and he's going to grab a large stone bowl that has been chained to the back of his board. And he's going to carry it with both hands. Seems very heavy. He needs a lot of effort to hold it, but he's going to raise it above his head and throw it forward at Jarnafelt. And he's going to make a loud grunt as he has this stone bowl that is caked in blood towards Jarnafelt. We'll see if he's able to hit with it.
That's a long range. Jesus, gosh, being an Olympian.
Let's see what we got here. So that would be 40 feet. Whoa! That is not a hit, I'm assuming?
I got 20 AC.
Okay, the stone bowl smashes at your feet, and beheaded humanoid heads roll out from inside of it into the dirt. And this cleric over here is going to once again try to hit you with a ranged attack. Let's see who he targets and what he casts. Okay, so he is going to. She is going to look into her spell book, flip through some rotted pages, and she's going to speak a jarbled, ancient-sounding language. And she's going to look Jarnafelt dead in the eyes as she speaks this language. And you are going to need to make a wisdom saving throw.
Shit.
Ouch.
I have advantage.
You don't. You hear a whispering in your mind that that says to you, approach. And you must move the shortest and direct route. The shortest and most direct route towards her, as close as you can.
And, like, all the way?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and you guys see that Jarnafelt is entranced by her, and outside of his own will, moves towards the cleric as she grins ear to ear. And next up is going to be, let's see here. This is going to be the hollow peasants who run out from behind the wall. And one of them is going to go in front of Jarnafelt, and one of them is going to go in front of Yumi. The hollow peasant is going to swing its machete at Yumi.
My skin.
Oh, Jesus. Alright. It's going to slash through your armor into your flesh, and it's going to deal 6 slashing damage to you. And the same thing is going to happen to me for 16. I don't remember if that hits or not.
On who, me?
Yep.
No, doesn't hit.
Okay, so it just slashes right in front of you. And then the ones over here are going to attack the blue sentinels. For a crit fail, and it's going to lose its machete temporarily. So let me go ahead and notify that later. The second one is going to attack this blue sentinel as well, as he's cornered by all 3 of these guys. For a 12, and it's going to just bang against his shield. And the manservant is going to raise up his dual-wielding steel saw, and is going to try to slash it against the flesh of this blue sentinel. And we'll see if he's able to do that. Okay. So let's see if he can hit him. Holy fuck. Okay. He's actually going to make 2 sweeps of this saw attack. So he's going to saw through his armor with one and miss with the other. And the great machete attack is going to deal. Get ready for this one, you guys. 12, 1d12 plus 5 is going to do 12 slashing damage to him. Alright, and that's going to hurt him pretty fucking hard. Okay, and then the Starved Hound is going to let out a growl once more and try to hit the blue sentinel in front of him. And he's going to hit him. And sink its teeth into his flesh for 4 more damage. And then at the end of that is going to be Cerebald's turn.
I'm having an emergency right now, so just skip me for now.
Okay, that's alright, dude. Don't worry about it. Okay, so before the blue sentinels attack, and they're going to attack next session, somebody appears out of the blue and be shouting angrily. Behind this tree, we see a robed man with bones and teeth strewn around his neck. He's got a masked face and a long blue cape behind him. The face is masked with brown wrappings. And he wields fire in both hands. To the commotion, I was planning on sleeping tonight. Who dares invade my village? You will surely pay for this. And he conjures a fireball in his hands. And we will see how this turns out next session in the middle of this intense combat.